Hello, this is Alexis May for AI Med, and today I'm joined by Richard Jones of C2 AI. Richard, welcome.
Hi there, how are you doing?
Very good indeed. Now, Richard, I'm excited to be collaborating with you on an exclusive webinar taking place on Thursday, the 11th of June at 9 AM UK time. We're going to be focusing on the journey back to business as usual, or whatever that looks like, the challenges being faced by hospitals, and some of the ways that technology can support people and organisations on the road to recovery. Why do you think it's important to run this webinar now? Why is it a good time?
I think it's a good time because as we come out of lockdown, whether this is the last time we're in lockdown, there's a little bit of a lull. And in speaking to some of the hospital systems in New York, say, they're saying that their doctors have almost got PTSD. There is this natural breakpoint that's required. So in this lull, you get the opportunity to actually put in place some things that will protect against the next surge, or that longer term will actually enable us to recover to whatever the new normal looks like. So there is this kind of stepped approach of, if you're in the middle of COVID-19 crisis mode at present, and certainly some countries are. Mumbai is very seriously affected at the moment, for example, in India. You're waiting for this lull point. In the UK, we're kind of hoping that this lull doesn't have a surge behind it, and we're starting the elective surgical list. So as we look to that, we have to start to think about the prioritization of that. And so there is a journey that every country will be on, and certainly in the UK, the NHS is just emerging from that first crisis phase, and we're kind of looking to the future just to see what comes next.
Okay, great, thank you. And we're going to be joined by two clinicians on the panel, Dr. Michael Roberts, who's Chief Medical Officer at Northlands Health Board in New Zealand, and Dr. Jenny Davidson, Director of Governance at King Edward VII Hospital here in the UK. What would you like to hear from them during the session?
I think it's been very interesting. I was talking to the New Zealand regulator this morning, and they have one case of coronavirus at the moment. So they have a very interesting perspective. I think there's going to be some interesting stuff about how they've kind of dealt during the crisis, but yet they have the same restarting of the electrical surgical list. So how do you, at that point, create a situation whereby you can prioritize cases effectively? You can identify patients who should be optimized and not optimized. But also, Michael in New Zealand has done a great job in improving the hospital over a period of time. And as we get to kind of normality, so post-elective surgical list being cleared, it's then about how do you convert a hospital from, if like a steady state through to excellence. And that's what he's been working at very hard. Jenny is the Director of Governance at King Edward VII in London, which for those watching, that's the hospital I think where frequently members of the royal family turn up. It's a small but exceptionally well-run private hospital with an exceptionally motivated team who've been doing a lot of improvements. And in terms of what we've done with them, we've helped them improve their CQC rating, but on the back of a huge amount of hard work from them. So it'll be interesting to see how a smaller private unit has been kind of affected, and some of the issues that they have going forward. So I think it's an interesting contrast in terms of size, in terms of location, and in terms of how they're responding to the challenges.
Yeah, indeed. We're really looking forward to welcoming them both and you for the session. And you know, we feel very strongly that the timing is indeed right, and that there will be some value for people across the globe in watching this. Just to finish off, Richard, from your perspective, what would you hope attendees, viewers of this webinar will take away in terms of insights?
I think there'd be quite a few actually. The interesting thing during this crisis is how difficult, with all the noise, it is for some organisations to kind of get their message across. So Healthcare UK very kindly named us as one of the 10 essential digital health ideas for a UK national COVID-19 response. We've had a lot of support from AHSNs in the UK and other organisations. Even with that, it's still a challenge to be heard above the noise. So I think people on the webinar, there'll be a little bit about some of the solutions that are available to help during this crisis, but also very much that clinician's perspective of how they are facing down this crisis, because certainly in New York, that extreme case has led to such pressure and such stress on the system. Apparently 70% of nurses are considering a career change. So I think there's a lot of practical insights and a lot of kind of interesting information from these different perspectives we'll be trying to get across during the webinar.
Thanks, Richard. Really looking forward to it. That's all we've got time for today. Thanks again, Richard, for your time. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And thanks to everyone for watching. You can find more information on the Road to Recovery webinar taking place at 9 AM BST on the 11th of June on the AI Med website, which is www.ai-med.io. Thank you very much.